So we actually just went over this, but dilution, evaporation, and chemical biological degradation are keys to essentially helping us kind of prevent a biological or chemical or radiological attack within the water sectors. Pretreatment is also a big issue, and the chlorination, as we talked about. So some of the bigger threats that we've been able to identify, at least in the United States, deals with the threats to reservoirs and dams. Usually the threats deal with simple physical security, such as penetration of security buffers, locks on fences, cutting through fences, unauthorized vehicles getting on locations that either treat the water or sustain the water, such as reservoir systems. There's also the issue of kind of the cyber end of terrorism that we deal with pretty exclusively within the Bureau too, is that one of the key aspects here is that there's a lot of open source information on the internet. These are satellite pictures, these are design and development of facilities as they come online, blueprints that are available, and these are all factors that need to be taken into consideration when you're talking about protection of a facility. If someone has sort of the keys to the castle and has the blueprints and can get into a facility and affect an event, it's something that needs to be considered, and the target needs to be hardened so that there's more security in those areas. Additional threats include the technical data we talked about and contamination after treatment, as I just mentioned. That's a big issue, and that's probably one we're most likely to be concerned about. The cyber threats I also just went through. A lot of the systems in the United States are all essentially able to be controlled through the internet or through phone systems. So that's another issue. You can increase flow rates all through the kind of the newer age of the pumps and the computerized systems that are currently installed. There's also a threats to bottled water, but then that's more of a processing plant issue, and we deal on that level. We deal with actually physical security and focusing on who has access to the specific end use of the product. So to keep going with the vulnerabilities, the way we look at it, a successful attack would require knowledge and access to critical nodes of the water supply. The successful attack would also involve disruption of water at the treatment and processing plant, and post-treatment contamination near the target. Those are the biggest issues. And as far as prevention goes, which is obviously what we're talking about as the key here, detection, identification, notification, and assessment, and investigations and responses all sort of work together. Detection and identification are the two key points. And physical security. Physical security is probably the easiest, or at least the most visible way to increase the security within our water sector. And a lot of that has to deal with simple manpower security issues that we face, as well as making the sector itself realize that this is an issue. It's something that in the past has been overlooked as not something that was necessarily a big threat. And to take it one step forward with the cyber end, the Bureau uses what's called InfraGuard. InfraGuard is our self-maintained website. It's something that's open to law enforcement partners both nationally and internationally. And it deals with essentially the different critical infrastructure I talked about, food and agriculture being one of them, chemical sector being one of them, as well as water. And we've developed special interest groups where it's populated by people such as the people in this room have an interest and want to discuss topics and see what's going on as far as intelligence and whatnot. It is a vetted site, one that you need to be granted access through, and that's something that we do internally. Response network in the United States is pretty robust and something that we've been able to work internationally with our partners. Everything from public health all the way down to federal agencies, and specifically our WMD coordinators, our agents who are in the field to gather intelligence, also the agents who are in the delegates I mentioned before in international countries. Collateral effects. The big issue is the effect of the water system. It may affect, but it also affects the potential, the power industry, whether it's political or physical, manufacturing, financial, food and agricultural, and just loss of security in general. Those are big issues. It's basically water by itself is not a singular sector. It integrates with multiple sectors, and it's one of the things that, as the Bureau's standpoint, you can't look at one without looking at the other. And finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about partnerships. We have domestic and international alliances. We do this with multiple countries, develop relationships, increase security awareness, suspicious reporting. We also have academic business alliances. I mentioned this a little before, and that's a key aspect of protecting our critical infrastructure on a national level. And to give you a little bit more flavor of the international initiatives, these are things we've done in the past. We've been involved in the G8 bioterrorism expert group initiatives. We have work relationship with the Interpol, bioterrorism initiatives, and the bilateral U.S. foreign epidemiology workshops. These are all different aspects of either workshops or initiatives that we're part of, and internally we deal with and then kind of develop and work with our partners to kind of template out across the globe if possible. That's what I have. Thank you.